Hey everybody, I have a great treat for you. I was able to sit down with Marc Lawrence and Kelly Schanes to talk about the rise of the retro print animation collab challenges that have been popping up over the last couple of months. Marc started it with his Design Before Motion group. It inspired Kelly to host her own with vintage travel posters, and I'm also been inspired to start my own for vintage food ads. That's coming up hopefully in the next month or so. But here's our conversation. I hope you get a lot out of it, especially if you want to start your own collab or if you want to join in on one of ours. This is just a really, really great gab session on sort of the troubleshooting at the beginning, how to get people interested, and also working with sound designers. I hope you enjoy. Just wanted to get you guys on a call because I've been very inspired by the challenges that you've been hosting, and I want to host my own next month. And I just wanted to talk about how, Marc, how you were inspired to get started, Kelly, how you were inspired to start yours, and sort of how we've been basically staying in that retro space, which is so fun, because there wasn't a whole lot of motion going on back then. So it's been really cool to see. So Marc, how did you really, I know you were inspired by those prints in that book before, and what made you decide to kind of open that up to everybody?
Well, it was Jonan Grobler who gave me a kick up the backside, an ideological kick up the backside. I posted a load of really cool. Here it is. You see that? Oh no,
Sort of.
blur on.
Oh, Zoom.
Oh, there you go. Oh, it's backwards as well. Anyway, that's the book. You see all the post-its hanging out of it.
Oh yeah.
My wife bought me this for Christmas, and it turned out to be the most incredible book I've ever. It's been glued to my desk since December, because I just love flicking through it when I've got a spare 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I posted a load of images from it. It took about 10 images, and I thought, oh God, I've got to share these with the world because they're amazing. Mm-hmm. There's all these mid-century designs from sort of the 1930s up to the late 60s. I just wanted to share them, and I just did a quick carousel, put it up there, got a lot of engagement, and then Jonan said, oh no, I think I ended the post with, which one should I animate first? Just putting it out there, but a light-hearted comment. And then Jonan came back and said, why don't you run a collab so we can all do it? It's as simple as that. And I sat on that for about 2 weeks, and I thought, that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
What have I got to lose? I mean, organizing that sort of thing for me is easy. I find that sort of thing easy peasy, organizing these types of things. So eventually I just said, yeah, let's just do it. And I got another post out which said, who wants to get involved? And I was totally overwhelmed.
Yeah, I feel like that was right place, right time for me, because I saw it pretty much immediately after you posted, and I was like, "Ooh, me! I want to do that."
Yeah. I had a fantastic result. I didn't know how to handle it. I knew how I was going to do it. I thought I'll have a small group of about 10, and within about 5 minutes of hitting posts, I'd got 10, and then it just kept coming. So I'd sort of blocked people out for the following months, thinking I could do one per month maybe. Mm-hmm. And I've had to stop at September because I'm like, I can't. Well, I just wanted to see how it went. Mm-hmm. I thought it could be a good thing. It might be worthwhile. Let's just see how it goes. I've stopped at September, and I've got lots of people now. I think the phrase is, I've got a deep bench for beyond September, if I take them from beyond September.
Nice.
And it's been quite hard work setting it up initially, but I knew I wanted to template the process. So once, I'd sort of document everything that I was doing, from putting the initial slides out to then deciding who's going to do which one, which is now a random process.
Yeah,
helped by my dog.
That's so hard being in your next group, knowing that the first time I actually got to call dibs, and this time it's just up to the the rando.
Yeah,
Wheel.
the rando. Yeah, the Wheel of Fortune, spun by Luna the dog.
I'm hoping it had some sort of character involved this time. I love characters. We'll see.
Well, I've just scanned in the next lot, and there are 3 characters.
Okay.
And I'll let you guys. I'll release the carousel into the world in a couple of days' time.
That's exciting.
But yeah, it was. It's been a great learning curve because I didn't know much about Discord, how to set a Discord server up. Ivan, was in Collab 1, who's now again in Collab 4, he helped me set up because he's an absolute IT legend. So he helped me set that Discord up. And just templating the process, knowing what I have to do at which point of the month, or it's actually now 6-week process, because after the first collab, John Green, who has quite a big he's a sound designer and he's got a large network of sound designers. He just literally reached out after the first one and said, "Look, do you fancy collaborating with sound designers?" And I was like, I'm not very, I don't act quickly. I have to think about things. So I said, "That's a great idea. Let me get back to you tomorrow." I think I got back to him within about an hour. I said, "Yes, let's just hop on a call because it's a great idea."
Yeah.
And so from Collab 2, his sound design community have been involved, and I've done some incredible work with our animations. And it really, really, when you see all the animations together in that final compilation video, it just looks stunning. The whole thing, everyone's work with the audio just looks incredible.
I love that. That's because, I always say that I can hear a set of boards before I can think about how I'm going to make it move. So when I did Kelly's collab, that was the first thing I thought about. I was like, okay, I know how this is going to sound way before I'm going to just get started. So I love that you work. I still probably want to do a little bit of my own sound design, but at least music. But they do the music as well too, right? For the background, or is it?
Yeah, they do. I think it depends on what you. I think the whole point now, because I'm learning as I go on as well, and the more I talk to the sound designer that John gives me, I think the better the actual finished piece with the animation comes out. So it's collaboration with a capital C. If you, and I've encouraged people to do that in this collab 4, the more you chat and get on with and get your heads together with your sound designer, who John's paired you with, I think the better your final piece will be. And it shows. It shows as well. Because the first time round, I wasn't as proactive with, it was Cameron who I was with first time round. But this time I was with Brandon, who I could hear in my mind, like you, Jen, I could hear how the audio was going to work with the animation I did, and we got our heads together, and it was great. It turned out to be great. So it's that's collaboration with a capital C.
Yeah, I was going to say that because I feel like some of these, I've had some people ask me about the collab, but they're like, but is it a collab or does everyone do their own thing? And I was like, well, it's a challenge, but it's a collaborative challenge that's knitted together. So I feel like we should, come up with a completely different word.
Yeah, because I think before John's tribe got involved, it was a challenge, even though I called it a collab. But now it's like a typical collaboration. Yeah. Because you have to get your heads together with your sound designer and vice versa.
Yeah. I think that's a really great experience for especially a new motion designer who's never worked with a sound designer before or who doesn't do their own sound design. That's exciting. I'm actually very excited to talk to a sound person that I'd be assigned to. That is so much fun. Well, after the first, Kelly and I were both in your round 1, so we kind of saw the process. So it's been cool just to watch your Discord and see how that's been evolving. So Kelly, do you want to talk about how you were inspired to do your own challenge?
Yeah. So I originally saw Marc's post like I don't know, probably a minute after I posted. And I knew I wanted to do it so bad because I've always loved vintage stuff. And I was like, no way someone else likes vintage stuff as much as I do.
Right.
And I was a little afraid because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be good enough to be able to participate with all these like insanely good motion designers. But I was like, you know what? I love vintage so much. I have the opportunity. I'm just going to do it. So, and I thought that collaboration went really, really well. And I thought it created a really good community too. So I was inspired because we were talking in the Discord that, well, I think it was WhatsApp at that time and then it evolved, but we were talking. And then so many different people were like, oh, we should do a travel poster one. So I was like, yeah, you know what, we should. I've always loved travel posters. So it took a lot of inspiration from Marc's. I let everybody kind of find their own because there's just so many different things out there, but everything else basically was based off of Marc's and how he ran his with like the naming and having everybody work together and stuff like that. So I think Marc's was definitely a huge help for me. And then also just like meeting everybody and finding people to do these collaborations with that are willing to. All thanks to Marc.
How is it working within the month sort of deadline? Like, I feel like that's plenty of time, but everyone kind of waits to the end anyway. And then you're just like herding cats, right? Trying to get everyone to turn in their stuff on time because you have a spot for them that you need to edit in. And if they don't, then everything gets pushed back. How did you guys handle, both of you? How'd you handle that?
I think it was a little hard. I know I was like, I think I gave a little over a month to do it. And I'm always like super eager to do these. So I have these done in like, I don't know, 2 weeks. I'm usually one of the first done. But yeah, it is kind of difficult sometimes because everybody's schedules, like they may have more freelance stuff pop up that they didn't expect or something like that. So I was kind of more flexible with it. I think I extended it like a week or a week and a half. And then eventually I was like, okay, hard deadline is this day. Like after some people were like, hey, stuff popped up. I don't think I'm going to get it done. I'm really sad that I can't participate. So I was like, okay, I'll just push it back a little bit and then we'll have that hard deadline. And then if people can't get it in by then, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Marc, how did you handle that?
I set the deadline. Well, it changed because I thought I'd be able to do them once a month. But when John's sound designers got on board, they need their own time to think about what they're doing and to work collaboratively with us and then to actually create. So I found the second one took about 6 weeks.
Okay.
So now I'm just in my head, I've just got 6 weeks because that gives enough time for people to think about it. Maybe I storyboard it, even though it's only sort of 10 seconds. I sort of jot things down and sketch. And I have to do this around my freelancing too. So I give 6 weeks, 4 weeks generally 4 to 5 weeks for the animation, hard deadline. And then John's team have about a week for their sound design work. And then a couple of days after that, it just goes live. Okay. And there have been 1 or 2 people that have dropped out because they found they couldn't make it. It was totally fine. That's happened to a couple of sound designers and a couple of animators, and it's totally fine. The whole point is that it's fun, so I don't put any pressure on anyone.
Sure.
People tend to put pressure on themselves, and I think that's only it's kind of natural in a way, but I don't want to be adding to that.
Right. Yeah.
Let's get it in. But I think if you put a deadline at the very, very start of your comms, that helps everyone subconsciously to fall in line.
Yeah. And I also love that you encourage the work in progresses to see like, where are you at? Because I feel like that's motivating for those who haven't started yet to maybe just that's the hardest thing is to get started. So I really like that both of you have done that.
Even if you're sharing just sketches or inspiration, or if you've got like a Pinterest board that you refer to, that you know you're going to refer to when you actually start anything like that. It's like a conversation starter.
Yeah. And I also, I really, for Marc's, for yours, I went in and I did sort of an after, no, actually, I did record some of my work in progress and then knitted together a time lapse. And then Kelly's, for yours, I want to go in and actually do like a tour of my After Effects project, because I wasn't recording my screen at the time. Even though I have a few like work in progress pieces of the stuff that I did. But I think something like this, especially for those motion designers who work with NDAs, who don't get to post a lot of things and certainly not post any of the work in progresses, this is a really great opportunity for content to put on your website to show your process, because in this time with all the AI stuff that's going on, it's just nice to show your work and to show sort of how you're troubleshooting things, and where you're not going to get in trouble for posting it. I think I want to see a lot more of these.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I'm under NDA, or every client that I've got, I'm under NDA. So I can't share work, and it's when you see amazing work on social media, you just think, oh, dang,
I know.
Share what I'm doing. Not I'm saying I'm doing amazing work all the time, because I'm not. I do it,
but you can't show it, and that's frustrating.
No, I can't show it. It's a shame, but yeah, you're absolutely right. It's the way to get work out there that you want to do. Push yourself in a direction you want to go, sort of software wise.
Yeah. And play. And it's actually, like it's permission to play, basically.
Yeah, 100%.
I agree with that, because I just switched jobs, but I was at a corporate science company, so not a lot of flexibility there in terms of like making stuff move. I was animating and stuff, but being able to animate these was really, really fun for me. And just like you said, being able to play with stuff.
Yeah, I got to try. I want to push myself to use a couple plugins next time, because I have so many plugins that I don't use, especially Newton. I love the physics engine of Newton. I feel like there's just a lot of really fun opportunities, especially with text, to play with that. And I had fun. I did, especially with the first round with Marc's, I did a lot of expressions and textures and stuff like that. And I was just going through expression session at the time. So it was like, oh, I know how to do that. So I was going in and having the textures pop on and off randomly. And that was really fun. And I love Photoshop. So most print stuff, it's like you have to break it up in Photoshop or recreate it a little bit. And so that's been really fun for me. And I'm really excited for mine. I love cooking. Like, that's a big part of who I am. And I've been cooking like every week for the last like 16, 17 years. And I'm actually starting a cooking YouTube channel very soon. That's going to have some graphic fun stuff. So I thought, in spirit of that, to do a retro collab that's all old like kitchen appliance ads or food ads, because there's just so much fun illustration from back then. A lot of character stuff, but I have just as much non-character prints as I do character. I have like 75 something in Pinterest right now.
Oh wow,
I keep grabbing them. I keep seeing more fun things.
Yeah,
some are really gross. The things they were doing with Jell-O back then, it's not good. It's not pleasant. They had a salad flavored Jell-O. Like, I don't know. It's pretty gross. And a lot of things with pickles. Pickle stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I also, even though I have found a lot of the stuff that I want to do for my collab, I also kind of want to go physically thrifting and go to a thrift store and see if I could find old magazines or old cookbooks and also do it that way. Because there is something about when you have a love of vintage, it's just fun to go to a place where you're just surrounded by the, just not the culture of it, what's the word? My coffee is not kicked in yet. The like the ambiance of like the 60s, 70s. I feel like a lot of the thrift stores had that really great. A lot of oranges and yellows and browns. Kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds really cool.
I'm excited. I'll have to document that. I feel like it was Sarah Beth Morgan that kind of inspired me to do that, because I know she does that a lot. Her stuff has sort of like a retro edge to it. Yeah. So I'm excited. But starting mine, I mean, I like the WhatsApp app is we did that with yours, Kelly, and then we started in WhatsApp for you, Mark, but I never used that app. So for me, it was like 3 days later. Oh, right. I need to check that and make sure no one's like posting. So I have a Discord that I'm an admin on called the Keyframers Club. So I'm thinking I might just do a channel there and maybe not do it as robust as the, what's your Discord call again, Mark?
It's called Design for Motion.
Design for Motion, right? I don't think it's going to be as like intensive of that. I love how everything's like templated though. It's really nice.
I got lucky because Ivan, who was in Collab 1, is a Discord genius.
Yeah.
So he helped me set that up.
That is so nice.
Hit him up if you need assistance. But starting off simple is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, and I was talking with Kelly about this too. Like, I don't know if I want to I already have close to 8 people that already said they want me just like, oh, I might do a collab or a challenge, and everyone's like, let me know. And I'm like, okay. So everyone, I have already a list, but I'm not sure if it makes sense to open that up to a bigger group. And then maybe when I do the final edit, maybe just do like, this is part 1 and then this is part 2 or something, because I'm not sure if I want to do this monthly. I think I just wanted to do one really big one and then, see where it goes from there. Since a lot of people might be dropping out and stuff. So that might kind of skew some numbers. But I'm nervous doing that. And I also want everyone to pick their own, but that's another thing that I know when you do that, people start fighting. But even that's why I wanted a crazy amount on Pinterest. I was like, look, you have so much to pick from. And if maybe you can't get this Campbell ad, maybe there's another Campbell ad that you can do that's similar, or, or instead of Campbell's, maybe it's a different competitor that has this, a lot of them have kind of a similar vibe.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably my plan. I kind of want to sound design it all, but that's just no, I put way too much on my to-do list. I don't have time to do that. But yeah, I like the idea of opening that up to any sound people that might be interested to help out, because that's a really great experience.
Yeah. Oh, you'll be inundated.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Because sound designers, they're often under NDAs too, and
yeah,
if they've got the chance to play creatively, to create content that will be out there, then as we do, they'll be all over it.
That'll be great. And I know on a Monday meeting, we're interviewing Joe from thechicken.net. He does sound design. And we're interviewing him next week. So it's I want to talk to him about sound. That's one of my favorite subjects to talk about.
I mean, all you need is one contact who's got their own network and you're in.
That's true. Yeah. I love it. Well, is there anything, are there any collabs or challenges that you wish someone would start that you want to join that you don't want to set up yourself?
Not that I want other people to do, but I'm thinking about doing another one. I was just in, so I'm from the eastern part of the United States. So I was at the Jersey Shore. They have a cute little historical shore town. I did a trolley tour. And they have this, it's called the museums and cultural thing. So I actually reached out to the curator there to see if they have any old posters or magazines or advertisements advertising that shore town. Because I think that would be something that'd be really cool. So yeah, I've been, I'm hoping to hear back on that. That's something that I kind of want to do.
That would be kind of cool, because then you can just offer all of that to animators. You're hey, if you want this video to play, it's just free advertising for them.
Yeah. And I wanted to do that. So they're a little nonprofit. So I was animations, totally free. So hoping to hear back on that. And then there's another, so I was in Pittsburgh for a while. There's another museum I think that would be cool to reach out to. It's the Heinz Museum.
Oh.
So they have all this stuff, but they do have since Heinz is made there, they have all of these ads and stuff like that. So kind of going along with that, but they have bunch of other stuff. So I might shoot them an email too. So we'll see where it goes.
I think it was Heinz that like they made the weirdest sauce. I think they had like a celery sauce or something. Like I feel like they had some really weird stuff.
Yeah, I think you posted about that, didn't you? Celery sauce. I remember thinking.
Yeah, someone did. I remember commenting on it, and I was like, so nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, culturally, I mean, especially if there's a few motion designers in your area that already have a meetup, that would be really fun to do, like a collab for the community. Especially like I know the Denver one we meet at. It's a specific like art, like arts district, and they have a lot of different things. And I think that would be a cool thing to offer. Yeah.
I think once you've done one, it kind of gives you the confidence that people actually do want to do them. People actually do want to animate cool stuff outside of their sort of day-to-day, whether they're freelancing or they've got a full-time gig.
And seeing everybody's process, like you're inspired by everybody that you're doing this with. So it feels very community like. Yeah, like I really
I agree. And I think it's been so good to learn. Like you said, you posted the breakdown. I think Adam Bennett, he's done some cool breakdowns, or I would just be like in the Discord be like, hey, how'd you do that? I need you to let me know because I can't figure it out. So I think that's been a really good aspect of it. And it's been really great.
And I don't remember who it was in the first group for Marc's that literally the intro was like a story of the print. Because I think it was like a book cover, right? And that, after I realized that's what made me get a little bit more into an intro with Kelly's, because I didn't think to do that. For me, it was like, what do I do with the pieces that I have instead of why don't I create more pieces, that are very similar and then tell a story with that. And I think that was really cool, which is hard to do. But when you have something like 8 to 10 seconds available to you, you can do a lot with that time.
Yeah, that was Narek. And he animated, I think it was a Jean-Paul Sartre book cover. Oh, gosh, I can't remember the name of the book. I can see it, though. I can see it. And he read the book for the collab, and he animated, like you said, it was a narrative that was inspired by the story of the book. And when he wrote a little bit about that, it like, I was like you, Jen, I was like, that's a great way to approach.
Didn't even think about that.
These pieces. No, because I was thinking, well, I've got the lockup. I can just animate the lockup. But all of a sudden, Narek comes along and with a narrative. And Adam was the same. Adam said the same about his piece. It was like it opened things up for him as well. So the last two that I've done, I've kind of taken it further than just animating the lockup. Maybe my last one was an album cover, so I threw myself into the style of the music that the album cover was based on. Not exactly my style, but it informed the process and informed the actual animation and informed Brandon's sound design as well. So the level of research that Narek did was sort of next level. It was second to none.
I think a lot of motion designers too that maybe don't have a design background, they don't really realize about the importance of the research because it helps you connect with your client more as well and give them what they need. But personally, it changes things. It's not so surface level.
Exactly.
It has a point to it. Because
with these things, you are your own client. Yeah. Why are you not doing for yourself what you would do for a client? And that was a bit of a light bulb for me. I was like, oh yeah, you'd normally throw yourself into, a client's branding or a client's backstory. So why wouldn't you do that for yourself for work that you do for yourself? It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And I'm TA for illustration for motion, and I have so many students that's just like, we want to get to the good part. I'm like, no. Do your word maps. Do your mood boards. Like, let's, it helps. I know it's frustrating and you want to get to the good stuff, but the good stuff is going to be a lot easier and you're not going to animate yourself or illustrate yourself into a corner if you don't have all of the information backing up what you're doing. Yeah. I agree. Well, I feel like I had another question. I can't remember what it was. Is there anything that you would do differently? I think Kelly, because you've only done the one, for your next one, is there anything that you would do differently for setting up the process?
I was pretty happy with how I set it up. I just asked on LinkedIn. Like I said, I think I tagged Marc and I got a lot of his people coming in from that.
It's addicting. I feel like it's highly addicting.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think just reaching out on LinkedIn. And that's really what worked for me. Maybe I would do the Discord, but I wouldn't really change a lot.
Okay.
I think you learn as you go along. If you keep an open mind as the sort of admin or the facilitator, keep an open mind. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. Mm-hmm. It's supposed to be fun at the end of the day, some fun, cool stuff. Yeah. Keep an open mind and learn as you go along. I think that's the main thing. People are going to forget deadlines. People are going to, not read what they should be reading before they get started.
Oh, right.
I think you've got to just, like the how-to and the welcome channel, that sort of thing. But you just got to sort of push them in the right direction and accept that. Like you said earlier on, Jen, it's herding cats sometimes, but that's all part of the process.
Yeah. I always feel like I'd be a really great producer, but I just don't want to deal with other people managing their time, or people that don't know how to manage their time well. It's like I can manage my time, so I'd rather just stick with animation. What would be your advice for anyone that wants to start their own challenge other than just posting on LinkedIn? Is there anything else that, like, theme wise or, organization wise, do you have any advice on that?
I mean, I think there's just kind of like inspiration anywhere. And kind of what I've learned from this is, like, even if you think your interest is like super, I mean, I'm not saying I didn't think other people liked vintage stuff, but I didn't think other people were as passionate about it as me. So I think if you think about like your interests, like say you're interested in album art or like you're interested in cooking, I think you just kind of think of your interests and then kind of maybe do research into that, and then see if there's anything you can pull from that. And I'm sure you'll be able to find other people that are interested in that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's got to be based on your passion. It's got to be based around something you love and something that really inspires you. And you never know what's going to happen. It's one of those things that if you set it up and you do one, you finish the first one, it's like, wow, that was great. It feels like you've achieved something just as a facilitator. Even though I do get involved still, you feel like you've achieved something. I actually got in touch with the guy that curated the book, Theo Inglis, last week, and he was blown away that I'd used his book as reference. And he actually said, if you're doing more of these, I've got all of the scans for you.
Oh, perfect. You want.
So that would save me from scanning in. So you never know where these things are going to lead. Like you said, Kelly, if you're into album art, do album art and get in touch. Try and find the people that did the original artwork. Try and get in touch with the record labels and see if they want to get involved too somehow. Open things up yourself. I'd love to. I think long term, I'd love to rent a physical gallery space and have these animations on screens.
Oh yeah,
that'd be cool.
Next to the actual print. I don't know how that would work with the sound design in a physical space, but I think that would be next level. And but it's like the sky's the limit. You're not bound by any kind of contractual responsibilities when you're doing it off your own back. You can get in touch with who you want.
Yeah.
Because what's the worst that can happen? Someone just turns around and says no, or you get ghosted, or what? Just carry on.
Yeah, and it's not like we're it'd be different if we're trying to monetize it, right? Then people would just be like, oh, you can't be using that. But it's totally open to just, it's basically fan art. So, yeah, that's kind of a nice loophole. Great. Well, I appreciate y'all talking to me about this. I'm really excited to start my own. I'm excited to jump back in with Marc's too. So fingers crossed I get a cool one.
Yeah.
I'm going to get one that's just like a blank page and a dot.
Yeah. Well,
I can do a lot with that. I don't know.
You have to put it still requires creative nous, doesn't it? Even if you do get a blank page with a dot, so you can do something with it.
You can do something.
That's where you really push your creative chops, I feel.
I kind of love having some boundaries too. Like it's, and I love the minimal, like I think if someone would do a challenge for like those minimal movie posters, I would love to do one of those because those are very, very minimal and you don't have much to work with. But if you know the movie, I feel like there's a definite opportunity for story there.
Yeah, definitely.
So whoever's watching this, whoever wants to do that, hit me up. Do it. All right. Great. Well, have a wonderful Monday. Thanks for hopping in. And
thanks for having us, Jen.
Yeah. Anytime you want to like meet back up in September and see how it's gone so far with more of these, I would love to do that. All right. We'll have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys on the internet for sure.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks, Jen.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Adios.